It feels like I'm watching a slow-motion car crash from the passenger seat, screaming at the driver to brake, and they just keep smiling like everything's fine. That's what it's like seeing my best friend right now. And the worst part, I'm pretty sure the person holding the wheel is his girlfriend, and she's aiming straight for the wall. Derek and I go way back, like braces and awkward bangs back. 16 years of being each other's ride or die. He was the golden boy from the fancy side of town, the one with a family name slapped on library wings and park benches. I was the blue-collar kid whose dad built houses and whose mom baked pies for the church fundraiser. Different worlds, but somehow we were locked in and stayed that way, through high school crushes, breakups, and all the mess in between. He used to be one of those people who lit up a room without even trying. Kind, dependable, a laugh so contagious it should be bottled. The guy who would move heaven and earth just to help someone carry a couch up 3 flights of stairs. He had this spark you couldn't fake. Then 3 years ago, Nina came along. Picture perfect on paper, gorgeous, whip smart with this whole quiet, magnetic vibe. They met at some gallery thing and Derek went full heart eyes from day one. He said she was like art, fragile and beautiful. Turns out the fragile part was literal. A few months in, she got diagnosed with a chronic autoimmune condition. It's legit serious. Pain, fatigue, the works. At first, my heart just broke for them. I'm a nurse, so I know what a long-term illness does to a person's life. And Derek, he stepped up like some hero out of a Nicholas Sparks novel. Learned her meds inside out, drove her to every appointment, changed his entire lifestyle around her needs. He sold his sports car because the ride was too bumpy for her joints. Turned down a huge promotion in the city so she could stay close to her specialist. His whole universe shrank until it basically fit inside their apartment. And for a while I thought, damn, this is love. But lately, that admiration's curdled into this pit in my stomach that won't go away. Derek doesn't look like Derek anymore. He's thinner, pale, huge dark circles. That laugh I loved. MIA for months. He cancels our weekly dinners with last-minute texts about Nina having a flare-up. Calls go to voicemail. When he does pick up, it's like I'm talking to a shell of my best friend. No jokes, no real conversation. Just a running update on Nina's symptoms and medication side effects. And Nina, man, she's a puzzle I wish I didn't have to solve. One day, she's sweet, telling me how much she appreciates everything I do for Derek. The next day, she's got this territorial edge, slipping little passive-aggressive comments in when Derek's out of earshot. Stuff that's perfectly engineered to make me look like a jerk if I react. My parents think I'm reading too much into it. Mom says caregiving is exhausting and I need to cut them slack. Dad just shrugs and says Derek's a grown man who makes his own choices. But I don't see a man making choices. I see a man getting drained dry. Working at the same hospital where Nina's specialist is. I overhear things. I've never broken privacy laws. But you can't unhear hallway whispers about patients who milk their symptoms for attention. You can't ignore the little patterns that scream something's off. Like her unbearable fatigue magically disappearing when a designer bag drops, or her crippling joint pain vanishing for a day-long shopping spree. Derek calls it a miracle. I call it convenient timing. It's eating me alive watching him bleed himself dry emotionally, financially, socially. He's so deep in this caretaker role. I don't even think he remembers what his own dreams were anymore. And anytime I hint that maybe he needs a break or some therapy, he shuts me down. Says I don't get it. Says their connection is something I could never understand. And maybe that's true. But I do know what it's like to lose yourself for someone else. I've seen what it does. It's not love when your whole identity becomes the person who keeps them afloat while they pull you under. I've hit the point where I'm done just watching. I've started making plans to pull him out slowly, carefully without her turning it into a war. I've been reconnecting him with old friends, sneaking him into group chats, sending him dumb memes just to remind him life exists outside their apartment. And yeah, I've been documenting the inconsistencies in her illness days versus shopping days. Not to use against her yet, but if it comes down to it, I want receipts. And you know what? It's working a little. Last week, he laughed just once, but it was real. Yesterday, he joined a pickup basketball game. For the first time in years, tiny wins, but I'm clinging to them like my own oxygen. I know I'm towing a dangerous line. One wrong move and she'll cut me off from him completely. But if I can just get him to remember who he is without her shadow over him, maybe he'll see what I've been seeing all along. So, here's where I'm at. I'm not going to let her keep him underwater. I'm not going to watch my best friend disappear without fighting like hell for him. Even if he hates me for it now, I think he'll thank me later. Reddit. Am I crazy for stepping in like this? Is this friendship rescue mission going to blow up in my face? Or is this exactly what someone's supposed to do when they see their person drowning? Comment. Look, OP. I totally get that you're coming from a place of love for your friend, and I respect the loyalty. But reading this, it kind of feels like you're skating real close to crossing boundaries. It's one thing to be concerned. It's another to start tracking her good days like an undercover detective. I'm not saying you're wrong, just that sometimes we can project our own fears into someone else's relationship. Be careful not to push him away entirely. Update 1. I keep thinking about how small moments can reveal the biggest truths. And 5 days ago, I got hit with one that's been rattling me non-stop. First off, thank you. Reading every comment on my last post was like exhaling after holding my breath for months. The validation alone was insane. I wasn't losing it. Most of you weren't sugarcoating anything. Words like manipulation, gaslighting, coercive control, they weren't just buzzwords. They were pieces of a puzzle I'd been staring at for years, but was too afraid to name. A few people called me jealous or meddling, but the overwhelming response confirmed my gut. This is not normal. I decided to take some advice. Observe. Don't push. Keep my eyes wide open. And wouldn't you know it, the perfect opportunity showed up faster than I expected. Derek's family hosts this massive annual charity gala, big fancy everybody who's anybody kind of event. For years, Derek and I would go together, platonic dates, roasting the stuffy rich people, making the night a total inside joke. This year, he went with Nina. Naturally, I didn't even know if I should go, but my parents pushed me, saying I should show face, support the cause, and maybe keep tabs without being obvious. So I went. First hour fine. I kept my distance. Small talk with old family friends. Tried to tune out Derek hovering around Nina, who looked pale and tragic like she'd been drained of life just to be dramatic at the right moment. He was constantly adjusting her shawl, getting her water, whispering in her ear, less a date, more a butler. Then Nina came up to me alone while I was by the silent auction. She smiled small and tight, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes. She made the polite comment that felt like a knife. Her tone was sweet, but so loaded with poison, like she'd rehearsed every word to land exactly right. She implied that Derek's wild streak with me was childish, that her illness had forced him to grow up, and that I should somehow feel both guilty and small for noticing. It wasn't just condescending, it was deliberate. She was claiming victory, showing me she had already taken control. I didn't react. I stared until she drifted away with that uncomfortable laugh she uses to cloak superiority. Derek came back, arms full of food for her, and I had this sinking, nauseating clarity. This isn't just a girlfriend being ill. She's strategically isolating him, slowly siphoning away his joy, independence, and life under the guise of care, and he's too brainwashed to see it. Talking to him doesn't work. I've tried reasoning, logic, and expressing my concern. Every single attempt is deflected with rehearsed lines about her suffering and his duty. He's reciting her narrative like scripture. It's heartbreaking and infuriating. I can't tell him. I need him to see it. So, I came up with a plan. It's probably insane, maybe even destructive. But I've reached the point where doing nothing feels worse than risking everything. I'm going to print out my original post and the most rational, insightful comments. Ones that dissect patterns of control, point out inconsistencies, called it what it is. No anger, no bitterness, just objective observations from strangers who see the forest for the trees. Then I'll slide the envelope under his door when I know he's home alone. No signature, no commentary, just him and the truth laid bare. No one telling him what to do. No voice to defend or deflect. I hope it shocks him. Maybe finally cracks the fog Nina's built around him and shows him the way back to himself. I know it's a gamble. He could freak out. He could lash out. He could shut me out forever. But watching him fade into a shadow, trapped in someone else's script, feels worse than burning the bridge. This might be the moment that finally brings him back. Maybe he reads it and recognizes himself again. Maybe he finally sees the patterns I've been screaming at him about silently. I don't know if it'll work, but I know staying passive isn't an option. I've got to act before he disappears completely, swallowed by someone else's control. So here I am, committed to this plan, heart racing, fingers crossed, hoping my instincts are right. I'm not just fighting for my friend. I'm fighting for the person he was before all this started, for the friend I've known for 16 years, who deserves to live his life instead of just existing in her shadow. Reddit. Am I completely off my rocker here? Am I about to make things worse? Or is this the kind of drastic step someone has to take when a best friend is being erased right in front of them? I need your thoughts, validation, anything that tells me I'm not just imagining the stakes here. Update 2. I am so done with feeling like the only person awake in a room full of zombies. 5 days after my first post, I followed through on the plan you guys kind of egged me on about, and holy hell, it exploded in my face faster than I could breathe. After reading every single comment on my first post, I realized I wasn't crazy. Seeing strangers call out the manipulation, the coercive control, the slow erosion of Derek's self, it clicked. People outside our bubble could see what was happening, and I decided he needed to see it too. Not mean comments, not insults, just the ones that dissected the situation logically, that outlined the patterns no one in our lives was willing or able to acknowledge. I curated about 20 of the most reasonable, calm, this is not normal comments and printed them alongside my original post. Folded them up, slid them into a plain manila envelope. No signature, no note, just facts. Then yesterday morning, knowing he had an early appointment, I dropped it under his front door. My heart was pounding like a drum solo. I felt like I was doing the right thing, maybe the only thing, but also bracing for disaster. The day dragged. Nothing. My phone buzzed, and I jumped every time. By 8, I was convinced he either tossed it, Nina intercepted it, or he was already spinning it into some alternate reality. Then at 8:05, frantic banging on my door. Not his polite tap, not a knock. It was like a battering ram. I opened it. Derek, pale as a ghost, eyes blazing, fist gripping my stack of papers like it was a weapon. "What the hell is this, Morgan?" he shouted, shaking. I couldn't even answer before he stormed past me into my apartment, waving the pages in my face. He said I had no right, that I'd crossed every boundary imaginable, that airing his and Nina's life for strangers to judge was cruel, manipulative, and the ultimate betrayal. I tried to explain. I don't know what else to do. I'm worried about you, about us, our friendship. He cut me off. That's when the bomb dropped. Apparently, on top of her physical illness, Nina struggles with severe depression and anxiety, something she's ashamed of, something she'd only confided in him. And according to him, the root of her panic, her insecurity, her feeling like a burden. Me. He said seeing our history, the inside jokes, the effortless bond made her feel small and weak. He told me my meddling had triggered a massive panic attack when he showed her the papers. And yes, he showed her. He'd spent the entire afternoon calming her down. "She thinks you hate her, Morgan," he said, voice cracking. "And after this, I'm starting to think she's right. You've always acted more like my girlfriend than my best friend. And she can't handle it. Not while she's this sick. I love you. You're my oldest friend, but I can't let you hurt her. Nina is my priority. Her health, all of it, comes first." And just like that, the ground fell out from under me. Space. He demanded space. Not a talk later, not a soft push. I was to step back entirely, get out of their lives, and leave them alone. He left, crumpled papers on my coffee table, walked out without a word, and I was left standing there numb, trapped in the aftermath. I thought I was throwing him a lifeline, something to shake him awake, to show him what he'd lost. Instead, I handed Nina a loaded gun, and she fired it straight at me. She added a new untouchable string to her bow. Mental health. Question her anxiety, or doubt her experiences, and I'm now the villain, the ableist, the problem. Derek, my friend, took the trigger from her and pulled it himself. I can't even think straight. Every scenario I imagined ended in him waking up, seeing her clearly and realizing how he's been drained. Instead, I've been painted as the aggressor in their narrative, the one destabilizing Nina, and he's swallowed it whole. I'm crushed, furious, heartbroken, and completely bewildered. Reddit. Am I completely wrong here? Did I just ruin my oldest friendship for nothing? Or is this a temporary storm that I can weather while he eventually sees through the fog? I need perspective before I do anything else, because right now it feels like I've been ejected from the orbit of my own life. Update 3. I can't stand this silence anymore. A whole week has passed since Derek stormed out of my apartment, and it's like the world has deleted me. Texts left unread. Calls going straight to voicemail. Nothing. It's as if I never existed in his life at all. Meanwhile, Nina has done what she does best. Weaponize the situation. Those Reddit pages I slipped under his door, not just read. They've been twisted into a story where she's the tragic sick girl being tormented by her boyfriend's obsessive, jealous best friend. That's me now. The villain, the monster under her bed. Friends who are still speaking to me avoid me like I'm radioactive. I got disinvited from game night. The text dripping with passive-aggressive politeness about how my presence would make things uncomfortable. And of course, I saw the pictures on Instagram, the group of friends, all smiles. Derek's arm around Nina, her head resting on his shoulder. This smug, serene look like she's conquered some unseen battlefield. A punch to the gut doesn't even cover it. My family is hovering in that annoying but loving way. Mom keeps dropping by with soup and sad eyes, murmuring, "It'll blow over." Dad, in his gruff dad way, told me, "Kid, you poked a hornet's nest. Now you either run or you find a beekeeper suit." And for the first time, I actually considered the beekeeper suit. But something's shifted in me. Anger has replaced heartbreak. Cold and sharp, clarifying everything. I'm furious at her for the manipulation. Furious at Derek for being so blind, and most of all furious at myself for letting it get this far. For trying to play by the rules she set aflame months ago. The nurse side of me, the analytical, evidence-based part, has started to take control. I'm running through all the inconsistencies I've ignored, filing them away as data points instead of annoyances. The crippling anxiety doesn't stop her from being the center of attention, the chronic fatigue that powers 6-hour shopping sprees. My brain is cataloging, connecting, and noticing patterns I couldn't see when I was caught in the emotional fog. And then last night, while scrolling through a local boutique's tagged photos just to distract myself, I saw it. A photo from 2 weeks ago, the day Derek told me Nina was completely bedridden. There she was, laughing in the background of someone else's selfie. Cocktail in hand, looking vibrant, alive, perfectly fine. My heart didn't sink, it went still. Concrete proof staring me in the face. It's brutal. Derek is gone. My friends are gone. My reputation is shredded. She thinks she's won, that she's completely cut me out and secured her place. But she has no idea what's coming. I'm done begging him to see reason, done trying to talk him into recognizing what's happening. You can't reason someone out of a position they never reasoned themselves into. So, I'm changing tactics. Concerned friend mode is off. Researcher, detective, strategist mode is on. I'm going to track this piece by piece. Build a case so airtight that Derek's foggy love can't cover it up. She wants to make me the villain. Fine, I'll play that role. But on my terms, I've realized this is bigger than me, bigger than one panic, one misunderstanding. It's about facts, patterns, and proof. It's about reclaiming the story that's been twisted and showing the truth so starkly that no one can ignore it. She thinks she's untouchable because she's wrapped herself in illness and fragility. But every lie, every inconsistency, every manipulation leaves a trail, and I'm following it. I'm not blind. I'm not passive. And I'm certainly not giving up. Derek may be lost in it right now, but the truth doesn't disappear just because he refuses to see it. Nina wanted the victory, the control, the narrative. She's going to get exposure instead. I'm done being the friend who pleads. I'm going to be the one who uncovers, documents, and exposes the truth. And maybe, just maybe, Derek will wake up to it before it's too late. Reddit, am I losing it? Or is this the only way to fight back when the friend everyone sees is really a manipulative master puppeteer? I need validation here. Am I justified in going full detective? Or am I spiraling into something even worse? Update 4. The last 3 weeks have been a war zone. I fought in silence alone while everyone else went about their lives. Derek's absence is deafening, but it's given me time to focus, to channel every ounce of grief, anger, and disbelief into something concrete. My night shifts as a nurse, usually exhausting, have become the perfect cover. While the city sleeps, I watch, I collect, I document. Social media was the first goldmine. Nina's main accounts, a curated facade, sympathetic selfies, vague captions about fighting another day, the classic sick but strong trope. But humans are sloppy under pressure, and she slipped. A tagged photo on someone else's profile led me to a private account under a fake name full of weekend trips, spa days, fancy dinners with girlfriends, and even a video of hiking a trail. A hiking trail. The same woman Derek insists needs a wheelchair for a grocery run. Screenshots captured it all. Next, I went ghost. Spent my days off parked near a high-end mall close to her building. Disgusting. Maybe necessary. Absolutely. On a Tuesday, supposedly recovering from a procedure, she walked out, drove to the mall, spent 4 hours shopping, hauling heavy bags like she was in perfect health. I documented it all. Photos, timestamps, receipts where possible. My stomach turned each time I saw it. The real shock came from a tip from a concerned party familiar with the Sullivans. Apparently Derek, pushed by Nina's constant reminders about her precarious health and fear of being left with nothing, had recently signed legal paperwork, not a will, but granting Nina durable power of attorney over his finances and healthcare effective immediately. Not if something happens, but now. She now has legal access to his bank accounts, investments, and his financial empire, all under the guise of helping him when he's too stressed. He signed away control without fully reading it. Then there's Anthony. While digging through Nina's secret accounts, the name kept appearing. Comments, tags, inside jokes. One exchange, Anthony joking about Derek's trust fund being put to good use. Nina replies, almost there. Just a few more months of playing the part. Playing the part. The words hit like a hammer. This isn't just emotional manipulation. This is calculated, coordinated, and potentially criminal. I now have a dossier, a mountain of evidence, screenshots, photos, posts, financial discrepancies, and a meticulously cross-referenced timeline comparing her bad days with her actual social life. Derek has been systematically conned by someone who knows exactly how to present herself as fragile and deserving of constant care. And Anthony, he's not just a bystander. He's part of the pattern, a cheerleader enabling her scheme. I hold the full picture now. The problem isn't convincing Derek. He's blinded by love and years of manipulation. The problem is stopping her from destroying his life entirely. My first instinct screams to blow the whole thing wide open. Send the evidence to Derek, his parents, maybe the authorities. But it's bigger than a falling out friendship. Legal documents are involved. There's a risk she could spin it, accuse me of forgery, and bury him deeper than ever. I can't just rush this. Every move must be precise, calculated. I've gone from best friend to investigator to strategist. My goal isn't revenge, it's protection. Derek's not thinking about contracts, power of attorney, financial abuse. He's thinking about Nina's health. But I can see the pattern, the manipulation, the calculated control. I have the evidence. I have the clarity. The only question now is deployment. Reddit, I know many of you think I should let Derek go, but he has been my best friend since childhood. And although he has hurt me like no one else, I still need to pull him out of the pit. And that requires your guys' suggestions more than ever. Do I go directly to Derek, hoping he sees the truth before it's too late? Do I bypass him entirely and hand this over to his family and their lawyer? Or do I risk everything and go public, hoping facts speak louder than love and lies. This is the endgame. Every decision from here shapes whether he survives this intact or loses everything. I have the queen in check. Now I need the move that wins the game. How do I save him, expose her, and stay out of a legal nightmare? What's the smart, clean, ultimate play here? Final update. If there's one thing I've learned this past month, it's that you can't always fight battles the way you think you will. I spent weeks obsessing, watching, documenting, and planning, like some kind of avenger in a quiet war no one else could see. The queen was on her throne pulling strings, twisting the world around her for her gain. And Derek, my Derek, was blissfully blind. I had to step in, even if it meant becoming the villain in his eyes. After gathering everything, screenshots, photos, social media posts, financial documents, even the Anthony connection, I realized going to Derek directly would be a disaster. He was too invested, too manipulated. His family, however, had clarity, resources, and the authority to act. So I sent it all to his father, Eric Sullivan, and CC'd their longtime lawyer. Password protected, emotionless, clinical. Hit send and waited, my heart hammering. The storm hit within 2 hours. Ethan's voice was calm, almost frighteningly so. Morgan, he said, we'll handle it. Thank you for your loyalty. Stay out of it for your own safety. And just like that, the cavalry arrived. The Sullivans moved swiftly. Power of attorney revoked, accounts frozen, access stripped. The operation was surgical, brutal, and merciless. I didn't see the confrontation, but I know the aftermath. Derek finally saw the truth laid bare. The overwhelming, undeniable evidence of what had been done to him. The cognitive fog lifted painfully, and he faced the woman he'd been protecting. Nina, stripped of her tools, the money, the legal leverage, the social manipulation, had nothing left. No theatrics, no sob stories, no dramatic proclamations. Just a quick packing and exit, leaving her shadowy confidant, Anthony, evaporated into nothing. Derek didn't fall apart loudly, but quietly in that way that shakes your soul. 3 years of love, sacrifice, and trust, built on lies and manipulation, crumbled around him. But over the past 3 weeks, he's been slowly trying to piece himself back together, and he's been reaching for me. The first call came a few days after he broke things off with Nina and kicked her out of his apartment for good. I didn't answer. His voicemail was hoarse, choked, just my name, and then silence. Texts followed. Rambling apologies, confessions of blindness, regret, and guilt. He left things on my porch, flowers, pastries from my mom's bakery, even a worn-out photo album from his 16th birthday full of childhood memories with a single sticky note. I miss my person. I feel something shifting in my chest. The anger, the grief, the cold detachment I had clung to for so long are starting to melt. I feel a cautious, fragile peace. I saved him. I reclaimed my sense of justice, my control, my own sanity. Life feels breathable again. My work is better. My family is relieved. And I can finally exhale without the constant knot of fear and worry. But the scars remain. He let her isolate him. He accused me. He chose her time and again until the truth became undeniable. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight. The bond we had, that single unit of Derek and Morgan that had survived middle school, heartbreaks, and all the mundane chaos of growing up, is fractured. And now he's asking to talk. No pressure, no expectations, just talk. A simple request, but it hits harder than anything else. I won. I was right. The manipulator is gone. The threat neutralized. But Derek, my best friend, remains wounded. And for the first time, I'm unsure of the next step. Do I let him back into my life fully, knowing the depth of what he endured and what I endured? Can we recover the trust that was broken even if he was the victim here? So, Reddit, for the last time, I need your perspective. I won the battle, but can the friendship survive the war? Do I forgive him, let him back in and rebuild, or do I keep the distance that protects what's left of my heart? Comment. Wow. Reading this was like watching a real-life thriller unfold. You were smart, patient, and relentless without losing your moral compass, even when it got messy. The way you handled it, collecting evidence, going to the right people, and protecting Derek shows serious courage and clarity. It's so easy to get consumed by emotion, but you stayed strategic and calm. Honestly, major respect. You saved your friend and yourself without letting the situation